Welcome to Sinister Heroes. I'm your host, Danny Iniquitous. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, this is a channel about Dungeons and Dragons where we try and take a darker tone with everything we do here. So if you like edgier kind of content, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. A big thank you to our Patreon supporters. We love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. What you do for us is amazing. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter, the link is in the description, as well as a link to our friends at Critical Failures, where we're part of a live stream game every Wednesday night. Check us out. And with all that out of the way, we're going to jump into this week's video. One of my favorite monsters, the THRI-KREEN. The THRI-KREEN come to us from Spelljammer. It is a insectoid, monstrous kind of entity. It is weird looking. It is gross, and I love it so much. It makes almost no sense. It's crazy. It's wild. To put it together in a sequence to make this a playable hero is just so unusual and strange, because you're a bug. You are the enemy in Starship Troopers. You are just an insect. You have extra arms. You're gross. You don't talk. You kind of just make clicky sounds, and you like, it's so weird, so strange, out of the box, and it should make people uncomfortable and their skin crawl. So naturally, I am all for it. I love this. THRI-KREEN are insectile creatures. They really look like bugs. They have two pairs of arms, so they do have four arms swinging around. They are encased in a protective chitin, kind of like an exoskeleton. They can alter their coloration of this carapace to blend in with their natural surroundings, which is awesome. It's just great to be gross and stealthy. They don't sleep, but they do require periods in activity to rest. This is something we've seen before, but it's awesome because they're bugs. And they speak by clacking their mandibles and waving their antennas, indicating to other THRI-KREEN what they're thinking and feeling. Other creatures find this method of communication difficult to interpret and impossible to duplicate. To interact with other folk, THRI-KREEN rely on a form of telepathy. They are weird, and they are in your head. It is awesome. I'm all about that. Your creature type is a monstrosity. That is important to note, that anything that targets a humanoid does not target a monstrosity. You do have to be very, very knowledgeable of spells and abilities and be on top of that just to make sure. There are a few things that won't work on you. Definitely keep that, because it will help you and mitigate some of the circumstances you might find yourself in. You are medium or small. Again, I would never choose small. Your walking speed is 30 feet, which is pretty awesome. That's your base standard, so you're not slower, you're not super fast, but you are still able to choose between being medium or small, and you count as a different creature type besides humanoid. So it does give you a bigger niche kind of circumstance where that actually feels unique and important. You have chameleon carapace. While you aren't wearing armor, your carapace gives you a base armor of 13 plus your dexterity modifier. As an action, you can change the color of your carapace to match the color and texture of your surroundings, giving you advantage on stealth checks made to hide in those surroundings. This is kind of like an octopus, where you can change that texture as well. It's not just your actual colorization, and I think that's important to note, which is unusual because you kind of live inside of an exoskeleton, and you're changing that texture, which is very alien as far as like things you can do tangible. You do have dark vision. You can see dark vision up to 60 feet, which again is not like perfect vision in the dark. You do see in kind of grayscale, but most of the time everybody kind of plays it out as just being able to see in the dark. It only comes into play if you have certain DMs that are really pushing for that realism. Your secondary arms. You have two slightly smaller secondary arms below your primary pair of arms. The secondary arms can manipulate objects, open and close a door or container, pick up or set down a tiny object, or wield a weapon that has a light property. Yes, you can hold a shield, a one-handed weapon, and two scimitars in your tiny hands. It is unique, but it is something that you kind of need to work out the logistics of and fully understand that you have more limbs does not give you more attacks. You are sleepless. You do not require sleep and can choose to remain conscious during a long rest, though you must still refrain from strenuous activity to gain the benefit of the rest. So you can't really, run around, build things or whatever. You can just kind of stay calm. Maybe you can pace. Maybe you can do something that's light work. Or maybe you can take a stroll and still gain the benefits of that rest. But you can't do extenuous things. It does seem like you can keep watch, because it doesn't say that you kind of lose any of that ability. You also gain THRI-KREEN telepathy. Without the assistance of magic, you can't speak the non-THRI-KREEN languages you know. Instead, you use telepathy to convey your thoughts. You have the magical ability to transmit your thoughts mentally to willing creatures within 120 feet of yourself. A contacted creature does not need to share a language with you to understand your thoughts, but it must be able to understand at least one language. Your telepathic link to a creature is broken if you and the creature move more than 120 feet apart, if either of you is incapacitated, or if either of you mentally breaks the contact. No action required. And you can read, write, and speak common in one of the language that you and your DM agree appropriate for the character. Obviously, you can't really speak, but I guess that kind of goes as a base kind of thing that they threw in there. Maybe it just slipped through as an error. The important thing about THRI-KREEN telepathy is it does make you great for characters that use enchantment spells, where you do need to be able to speak and communicate. If you're trying to communicate with something that doesn't speak your language, and you're trying to cast enchantment spells or anything like that, it's not really supposed to work, because you need to be able to communicate a message most of those times. Now, this isn't for every spell, but there's a bunch of spells that you do need to communicate a message or a command to someone to cause them to do something. This supersedes that, because no matter what that command is, you speak through THRI-KREEN telepathy. So you send that message regardless of the language that they speak. So it does open a cool avenue of spells available for you that are a little bit better for you than they are with other people. And it's interesting to be a bug bard. So right off the bat, with the THRI-KREEN, you definitely want to push some of those dexterity classes. I think they make an excellent Swarm Keeper Ranger. I think it makes perfect sense for you to have tinier, little, grosser bugs inside of you, climbing around you, totally encasing your skin, living like parasites or symbiotically with yourself. I like them for bards because it's gross and it's weird. And what's more evil than enchantment magic and illusion magic? Something the bards have plenty of. To have that come down and see what? A giant bug that's been kind of communicating and befriending you the whole time, that's an awesome evil thing to do to someone. I do love them for rogues as well. Arcane tricksters are fun because it's just, arcane trickstery. But anything that has a promoted reason to use stealth, I think really, really does well. I think monks do well as well for THRI-KREEN, because not only is it a better armor class for them to deal with until their AC maybe gets higher because of the wisdom increase, but it does kind of fit that mentality. You are an insectoid. Obviously, your thinking and communicating is a little bit more alien to us than you would understand, but they are a battle-worn species. They know how to fight. They know how to defend themselves. Removing clear emotional knowledge and trying to communicate that to an insect that's evolved to this kind of point makes sense that maybe they're more disciplined, not because of an emotional draw towards certain aspects of like martial arts or meditation, but because they don't have the distractions to let them be something else, to not be able to focus as well as they do. And I think that plays really, really well into the THRI-KREEN. The THRI-KREEN, they are weird, they are monsters, they are scary, they are gross, and I love them. I think they're so cool as such a unique species, even if you consider all the other species that are monstrous in their trade or design. Nothing really sits as unusual as the THRI-KREEN. I want to be a bug that hangs out and leads the charge. You know, you could do a lot of great things with it, and I love the idea of using your own carapace to increase your stealth, to kind of really manipulate that and feel like an octopus. I happen to love octopuses. I think they're amazing. I think they're just one of the coolest animals out there. So anything that reminds me of that is definitely something I'm into. That being said, we're going to bring this video to a close. If you've made it this far, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Tell us about any THRI-KREEN you've ever played or been in party with. And thank you for giving a spooky kid a chance.